Hi everyone, in this video we will discuss all the type C questions of chapter 3, that is data handling, from class 11. Now write a program to obtain principal, rate of interest, time from user and calculate simple interest. So this is a very simple program. You have to take these three values. Principal have taken in a variable P and rate of interest in a variable R, and T is taking time in years. Now we will calculate simple interest like this. SI is equal to P into R into T divided by 100. So the simple interest will be calculated and it will be stored in a variable SI. Now to print the simple interest, you can write print. Within that you can just write simple interest is. You can just simply write SI, but here I have used a round function so that the value will be rounded up to two decimal points, two digits after the decimal point. So you can see the output like this. Once you run the program, it will ask you for the principal. Let's say the principal amount is 5 lakh and the rate of interest is 7%, let's say, and the time in years is 4 years. Then you can see the simple interest is calculated like this, 1,40,000. Now write a program to obtain temperature of 7 days of week and print the average temperature of the week. Now we have taken the temperature of 7 days in 7 different variables, like mon is to store the temperature of Monday, Tues is to store the temperature on Tuesday, and Ved is used to store the temperature on Wednesday. And while taking all these things, you should remember that you have to convert it into int or float value. Here I have converted it into integer, but if you want, then you can just use float instead of int so that you can pass the decimal values also while passing the value for the temperature. Like this, I have taken the temperature for all 7 days of a week. Now to find out the average temperature, I've just used this method. You have to add all these variables, which is storing the temperature of all the days of the 7 days, then just divide it with 7 and store it in a variable. I have given a name as avg underscore temp. So you can just do it like this. Now you just print average temperature is. Here also again I have used the round function so that the temperature will be rounded up to two digits after decimal point. Now if you run the program, now you can see it will ask you for to enter the temperature on Monday, that is, let's say 37, and Tuesday, let's say it is 39. Like this I have put all the values for all the 7 days. Now the average temperature is calculated like this, 37.14. Now write a program to obtain x, y, z values from user and calculate 4x to the power 4 plus 3y to the power 3 plus 9z plus 6 pi. So you have to accept these three values x, y and z from the user, and we have taken integer values, so we have to use the integer function over here. So I've used int input, enter the value of x, then value of y and z. Like this you have got the values of x and y and z. Now you have to calculate like this, 4 into x to the power 4. So you have to use the exponentiation operator here, x to the power 4 plus 3 into y to the power 3 plus 9 into z plus 6 into pi value is 3.141, that you can directly put over here. Now you can see to get to print the result, you just have to write the print statement. Within that you have to pass the variable result. Now once you run the program, it will ask you to enter the value of x, that let's say it is 3, then the value of y, let's say it is 2, and the value of 4 is, let's say, 4. So it will calculate, and the value which is calculated is 402.846. Now here also, if you want the output should come in a rounded form, then you can use round function so that it will be rounded up to 2 digit or 3 digit or 1 digit, whatever value you want to give. Now write a program that reads a number of seconds and print it in a form of minutes and seconds. So first of all, you have to take the value, that means the number of seconds. It is stored in a variable, let's say n. Now once you do floor division it with 60, then it will give you the number of minutes present in the second. That means once you divide this value with 60, that means here n stores the total number of seconds, n division 60, the quotient that you get, that will give you the number of minutes. And once you divide it with 60 and take the remainder, then the remainder will give you the number of seconds. So we have just done that. So m is a variable which is storing the number of minutes, which is calculated like this, n floor division 60. So here we don't want any fractions because number of minutes should be a whole number. So we have used floor division over here instead of normal division. Now s is a variable which will store the number of seconds, and here we have used the remainder operator. So n% 60, that will give you the number of seconds. So it will print n comma seconds is m, then comma minutes and s seconds. So it will be printed in this form. As you know, whatever is kept within the course, those are the string values, and which are kept outside, those are just the values of those variables will be accessed and printed. So you can see, enter the number of seconds, let's say 100. So it is showing 100 seconds. Here you can see n is replaced by its value 100. Then whatever text you have written, that is 100 seconds is 1 minute. M is having value 1 because 100 division 60 quotient is 1. So 1 minute, and S seconds. S is having value over here 40. So it is storing 40 seconds. So this is how you can get. Now write a program that reads from the user an hour between 1 to 12, a number of hours ahead, and the program should print the time after those many hours. So hour is a variable which will store the hour value which is entered by the user. So here the user has to enter hour value between 1 to 12. So that has to be converted into integer and is stored in a variable called hour. Now n is another variable, that means number of hours ahead. So there the user has to enter the number of hours ahead, and that will be stored in a variable n. So we will just add these two hours. So s is a variable which will store the addition of these two, hour plus n. So what will happen? Like suppose if s value is less than or equal to 12, then it has to print the time is s o'clock. Otherwise, if it is more than 13 or more than 13, then it has to be like subtracted. 12 has to be subtracted from this value so that you can get the time. So else print time will be s minus 12 o'clock. So once you run this program, you can check it. It will ask you to enter hour between 1 to 12. Let's say I have entered a value as 4. Now enter the number of hours ahead, so that is 7, let's say. So these two will be added, hour plus n, and the value is 11. So it will print time will be 11 o'clock. So here you can see this value is less than 12. So now we will run one more time by taking these values. Now next run, it will ask you to enter an hour. Let's say the hour entered is 10. And the number of hours ahead, let's say 5. So it will add this to 10 plus 5, that is 15. It is more than 12. So the time will be 15 minus 12, that is 3 o'clock. So it will print time will be 3 o'clock. Now write a program to take a year as input and check if it is a leap year or not. So first of all, we should know how to find out whether a year is leap year or not. So first thing is the year has to be divisible by 4. If it is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year. Like for example, 2016, 2020, all this. But if it is divisible by 100, if it is completely divisible by 100, then it is not a leap year, even though it is divisible by 4. So that we have to consider. So the years like 1900, 2200, so that means ending with double zeros or completely divisible by 100. These values, these years are not leap year. Then again we have to check if it is divisible by 400 or not. Then it is a leap year. Like 2000, 2400, all these are divisible by 400. So these are leap years. So how we will proceed? We have to first check the divisibility by 400. If it is divisible by 400, then it is a leap year. If not, then check whether it is divisible with 400 or not. So our condition is it should be divisible by 4, but it should not be divisible by 100. So we have to use that one. Then we have to use AND operator and OR operator over here to carry out this program. And we have to use if statement also. Actually, this conditional statements has been not taught to you in this chapter. It is there in the upcoming chapter, but you have to use this one to solve this program. So let's proceed. Now the user has to enter the year value, which has to be stored in a variable called year. Now we have to use the if condition to check whether it is a leap year or not. So if is a conditional statement, it will take a condition and it will check whether the condition is true or not. If the condition is true, then it will execute the next statement. If the condition is false, then it will execute the statement which is given in the else part. So this is how if statement works. That you will come to know about this in detail in the next chapter. But now for the time being, this just focus on this one. This is just simple thing. Within if statement, you have taken a condition like this. So what is the condition? The first thing is the year should be divisible by 400. If the year percent 400 is equal to 0, that means the year value is divisible by 400. Or then the next condition is like this. Next condition is actually there are two conditions which are joined with AND operator. The two conditions are like this: year should be divisible by 4 and year should not be divisible by 100. That means year percent 4 is equal to 0 and year percent 100 is not equal to 0. That means the year value should be divisible by 4 and should not be divisible by 100. These two conditions should be satisfied. That's why AND operation is there in between these two conditions. That means if the first condition is satisfied, that is year percent 400 is 0, or this next condition is satisfied. That means it is divisible by 4 but not divisible by 100. When these two conditions are satisfied, then, or that means either this condition is satisfied or that condition is satisfied, then it will print leap year. Otherwise, it will print not a leap year. So here you can see in a single statement we are using both and or operator. In that case, what will happen if in a single line there are both and or operators are there, then first and operator will work, that is having the higher priority. Then the or operator will work. So this is how you can find out. Once you run the program, let's say the first year entered by the user is 1800. It is not a leap year because it is divisible by 100. In second run, it is asking for one more year value, and here we have passed 2020. So it is showing it is a leap year. Why? Because it is divisible by 4. Then run 3. Suppose the year entered is 2019 and 2019 is not a leap year. And the next run, let's say it is, we are entering the value as 2400 and it is showing that it is a leap year. Why? Because even though it is divisible by 100, but it is divisible by 400 also. So this is a leap year. Now write a program to take two numbers and print if the first number is fully divisible by second number or not. So here in this program also you have to use if condition. So we will proceed like this. We have to take two variables, let's say num1 and num2, which will store the two numbers which will be entered by the user. Let's say the first number entered by the user is stored in a variable num1. The second number is stored in a variable num2. Now we will check if num1 percent num2 is equal to 0 or not. That means if number 1 is divisible by number 2 or not. If it is divisible, then once you divide, then it should give the remainder 0. Otherwise, in the else part, we will print num1 is not divisible by num2. Now, once you run the program, let's say the first number entered by the user is 42 and the second number entered by the user is 7, then it will print 42 is divisible by. Now write a program to take a two-digit number and then print the reversed number. Now let's say the number which is entered, that is stored in a variable num. Let's say the user will enter a two-digit number. Now to get the digit which is at unit place, we have to divide it with 10, and the remainder, whatever we will get, that is the digit at the unit place. So we will just divide the number with 10 and get the remainder. So we have to use remainder operator, and the remainder is stored in a variable r, and that is the unit first digit. And the digit which is at the tens place, that we can get it once we divide it with 10 and the quotient that you get. That means you have to do floor division to get the whole number as the quotient. So after doing floor division, whatever value you will get, that is the digit at the tens place. So like this you will get these two digits which is at unit place and which is at tens place. Now the reversed number should be like this. The number which is at the units place, the digit which is at unit place, that will be multiplied with 10, and the digit which is at tens place, that will be added with it. So it is like this, r into 10 plus c, and it is stored in a variable, let's say new underscore num. Now we have to print it. Now once you run the program, it will ask you to enter a two-digit number, let's say 23. Now what it will do, 23 will be divided by 10 and the remainder is 3, so that is the digit at unit place, and the quotient is 2, that is the digit at tens place. Now we will just multiply 3 with 10, that is 30, then add 2, 32. Now in this way we have got the digit, the number reversed. The result is 32. Now try writing similar program for three-digit number to print it in reverse order. Same thing, we have to take a variable num and we have entered a three-digit number like this. Now we just divide it with 10 and the remainder that you are getting, that is the digit at the unit place. So let's store it in a variable called d1. Now, if you divide it with 10 by doing floor division, whatever quotient you have got, that is the first two digit of the three-digit number. So that is, let's say, stored in a variable, let's say c. Now again, if you divide c with 10 and take the remainder, then that will give you the digit at tens place. And if you divide c with 10 and take the quotient, then that value will give you the digit at hundreds place. And let's store these two variables, these two digits at variables d2 and d3. So now after this, your d3 will store the digit at hundreds place, d2 will store the digit at tens place, and d1 will store the digit at units place. Now to reverse the number, we have to multiply d1 with 100, then d2 with 10 and d3, and these three things we have to add, like d1 into 100 plus d2 into 10 plus d3, and that has to be stored in a variable, let's say I have stored in a variable ref underscore num. Now just print that one. So it will ask you to enter a three-digit number, let's say 947 that you have entered. Now the reverse number is 749. How? Like 947, when it is divided by 10, you got the remainder as 7. So that is your digit at units place. Then 94 is the quotient. Now again divide the quotient with 10, 94 divided by 10, and you get the remainder as 4, that is the digit at tens place. And the quotient that you got 9, that is the digit at hundreds place. Now to reverse this, you just multiply the digit which is at units place into 100, that is 7 into 100, 700, then 4 into 10, 40, then 9. Just add them to get the digit, to get the number 749. Now write a program to take two inputs for day, month, then calculate which day of the year the given date is. For simplicity, let's take 30 days for all months. That means if you input day 3, month 2, then it should print day of the year is 33. So what you have to do, you just have to multiply the month into 30, whatever month value will be entered by the user, that will be multiplied with 30, and it should be added with date value. So let's say we have taken two variables, date and month, and the user has to enter a date between 1 to 30, that will be stored in date. Then the user has to enter a month between 1 to 12 that will be stored in a variable month. Now it will be calculated like this, month into 30 plus date. And let's say it is stored in a variable, let's say day. Now it has to print that one. So once you run the program, it will ask you to enter a date between 1 to 30. Let's say I have entered the date as 15 and month is let's say 10. So the day of the year is 315. That means 10 into 30, that is 300, plus 15, that is 315. Now here is the solutions of chapter 3, that is data handling. Here we have discussed all the type C questions of this chapter, and if there is any doubt you can put it in comment section, and stay tuned for more solutions and do subscribe. Thank you.